Hello. Good to see you. So today we are joined by participants from our online retreat weekend, our Tabula Rasa online retreat. Abundance in Miracles is the theme. And we also have those here for our all-day movie workshop, just coming for the workshop itself. So we've got quite a big group here today, so it's nice to have everybody. I'm Peter, I'm going to be the host today. And so I can just let everybody know how the day is going to flow. So we're going to start with a movie with David, and then afterwards we'll have a 10-minute break. And then we'll go into our breakout rooms where you can share any experiences you had with the movie, anything that came up, any emotions. And then we'll have a 45-minute break. And then I'll be holding the closing session today at the end. So I see David there. I'll pass it over to you now.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Pete. Welcome. Welcome. We have a very international crowd here today. I see people from all over, from Brazil and Sweden, Germany. Manuela, I invited her as my guest today, and I see Stephanie. I heard you were down in Germany visiting your father going through some healing. Well, we have a big group, and our online retreat this week, this month is named Abundance in Miracles. So in this world, abundance, of course, has a lot of connotations around material wealth or possessing things, objects, even skills. It can seem to involve a definition on the horizontal plane of having more. And Jesus doesn't really understand this idea of more. Jesus says, what is an idol? Do you think you know? An idol is for having more of something. It does not matter more of what. So for Jesus, the present moment offers everything, and linear time offers nothing, nada. And yet it takes a lot of mind training, because all of our programming from our conditioning growing up, from our parents, seemingly reflected with our parents, reflected in our schooling, our education, all of our vocation training, our university training, all reinforces false beliefs of success, material success, educational success, worldly learning, which I call artificial intelligence. It doesn't really help us to be happy. It doesn't help us to be joyful. It doesn't help us to be free, but it's so deep. The programming is so deep that we have to have Jesus show us the way to undo all of this. So in terms of the movie workshop today, we'll go on all day. So for those of Europe, if you're already starting at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, or 4 or 5, this will roll on well into the wee hours if you want it. If you want it, it's there. If you want to go to sleep, that's okay too. Do what you feel guided to do. But these movie gatherings are based on a group of themes that we put out on a number of different channels, Tribe and Facebook, for example, different groups, and then you vote. And then you vote during the week on the theme that's most important for you in your spiritual awakening. And then I cue off of that. I read the themes and I ask Jesus, what do you got for me? Let's have a great teaching session on the themes that are most important to the people. And so I'll tell you first the themes that you all voted on this week, because they are amazing. The first theme, the first place theme that you voted on received 104 votes, far ahead of the second, third, and fourth. But the first place theme is being defenseless in every situation. And that is a very relevant theme for what seems to be occurring on planet Earth at this moment. You know, even with the situation of the Ukraine war, being defenseless in every situation. And for us, I could say war seems to be one of the most extreme ones, even though Jesus tells us that there's no order of difficulty in miracles and there's no hierarchy of illusions. So when you forgive them all. There's no worse situations or better situations. There's no more difficult situations and less difficult situations. He's basically saying, when you forgive, you can heal the sick and raise the dead, because you made sickness and death and can abolish them both. Kirsten referred to that last night. And Jesus is teaching us that it's going to take mind training, and that's what we're to devote our entire life to, is mind training with Jesus and the Holy Spirit. That's why we're all here together in Zoom. I don't know, maybe 100 plus of us gathered from all over the world, just to become clear about this mind training that we're going to do with Jesus. He's called us to be miracle workers. He's not joking. He's basically saying, you don't need a resume to be a miracle worker for me. You just have to have willingness. If you're just willing to say yes to me, I'll do the rest. I'll do it all. I'll do it through you. You don't have to worry about if you're qualified enough, if you're skilled enough, if you have enough education. He's not interested in those things. If you're willing, he will use your mind to heal the mind and to restore the awareness of spirit and help forgive the illusion of separation. That sounds like a good calling to me. I mean, I've been at it for about 36 years and I love it. I can't tell you how much I feel honored actually by the willingness to answer the call. Jesus says, everyone is called, but few choose to listen. So there are no chosen people. There's no more special people on earth, the chosen ones. He doesn't understand chosen ones, but he does understand that the call goes on. Ever since there seemed to be a belief in separation or a fall from grace, there's been a call to experience heaven and love. And the call goes on, and it was set in motion when the seeming separation, the belief, was taken serious. Then now we have a call, and it's basically our responsibility to answer the call by accepting the correction in our mind. We're not asked to change the world, but we are asked to change our perception of the world, change our interpretation, see the world with the Holy Spirit and Jesus instead of through the ego's lens. So, number one theme you voted on with 104 votes, being defenseless in every situation. Number two, trust would settle every problem now. Wow, isn't that fun? Trust in the Holy Spirit, trust in Jesus would settle every problem now, not in the future. He doesn't say the future. He says, if you align with me now, you have no problems. Trust would settle every problem now. We have that on our monastery. As you drive into the parking lot in rural Utah at our Course in Miracles monastery, there's a big picture of Jesus with open arms, bright light, and basically it says, trust settles every problem now. And so you picked that theme for this weekend and for today's Saturday movie workshop. Number three, daring to open up my heart. Wow, that's a big one, 65 votes. Open your heart up, I think just means open your heart up to your intuition, open your heart up to guidance, open your heart to the inner wisdom that you have, and it's always there, and it's all you have to do is welcome it, and then it activates you. It activates your mind. It activates your life by the willingness to be guided. Okay, and then we have how to forgive all doubt thoughts with 53 votes. How to forgive all doubt thoughts. That means every time a doubt thought seems to enter, comes up into your awareness from the unconscious mind, from the ego belief system, every time a doubt thought enters, you're willing to just take a look at it for a moment and say, oh no, I'm not buying this. I have a creator who is loving. I am not buying this doubt thought. Even if our past conditioning tells us that the doubt thought is prudent, that the doubt thought is important, that the doubt thought is real. Jesus is saying, don't be fooled. Doubt thoughts are all coming from fear. And fear is the ego. And the ego is not who you are. You're the Christ. He's telling us, for Christ's sake, you're the Christ. Don't give in to doubt thoughts. Don't buy those sniggly little ego thoughts that are tempting you to be fearful, when in truth, all glory is the one who is holy. And the one who is holy is the one who is created by God forever. You can't mess up your holiness. You can believe you can make mistakes. You can believe in an error, but you still can't change the holiness. That's why the good news of the Gospels in the Bible is called the good news, because you can't die, because you're an eternal being. I can't think of any better news than that, especially when we seem to have wars going on, and we have a pandemic, and we have all the things that the ego is trying to scare the mind with, to remember that you're an eternal being and you can't mess it up. No matter what you seem to think or say and do, you can doubt your identity, but you can't change your Christ identity. That's a fact. I had students back in the 1990s, and one time I was meeting with the students around 1994, and we were reading the course, and they, as typically, we read the book and then they read a sentence. And when they read the sentence, they go, what does that mean? And the sentence that the students read was, no one can be angry at a fact. And so they all looked at me and they went, that's crazy. What does that even mean? I said, that's obvious. No one can be angry at a fact. And they say, well, give us an example of a fact. And I said, well, God is a fact. And Christ is a fact. And if you knew God and Christ, you would realize you can't really be angry at them, because they're just pure love. Well, how could you get angry at pure love? What has pure love ever done wrong? Nothing. So God and Christ are examples of facts. They're spiritual facts. And everything in the world of perception is illusion. So there are no facts in time and space. Even if you go to the court of law and they say, just give us the facts, ma'am, all you can say is, I am. that's as far as you can go. I am now is a fact. And it's also an indisputable fact. You can't really dispute it because it's the truth. So it's not a matter of opinion, it's just a fact. So anyway, I am going to show a movie today, and Jesus, I was asking Jesus for a movie, and he said, well, you know, the last 3 weeks we showed really deep, profound movies that were all so deep, but they were all, for most of the people, they were a little bit heavy. So, you know, we showed Violet, an amazing 2021 movie, an amazing movie that was all about healing and letting go of that inner negative voice. And then I showed Needle in a Time Shack, and that was healing the whole idea of guilt related to interpersonal relationships and showing the folly of that guilt. And then last week I showed Mary Magdalene, which I don't know, that's pretty deep. That was a deep movie. For many of you, you said that was healing, but it was pretty heavy. So Jesus said, it's time for a comedy. I tell you, I'm only going to give you like only 3 heavy movies, and then we have to get back to the comedy. Why? Because Jesus says the world will end in laughter because it was a place of sorrow. Jesus is telling us the only problem was that we took seriously the tiny mad idea of ego, of separation. We forgot to laugh at the funniest joke ever. And Jesus even used the word joke. In A Course in Miracles, he says, it is a joke to think that time can come to circumvent eternity. Like Joel Goldsmith used to call it a parenthesis in eternity. That's the joke. Eternity is so vast, when you try to put little parentheses on it, that you make up a joke of a world. And yet, if you believe in those parentheses, and if you believe in that tiny little mad idea, then the consequences you perceive seem to be real to the perceiver because the perceiver believes in them. You see, they're not real because they have no